Hello there, this is Patricia from Pinky's World. Tonight I am making a little holder for scrap paper. If you remember a few weeks ago, you'll see a video where I made a lot of wee notebooks and wee mini notebooks as well, and I had a lot of cut-offs and I had been using it. It was left in strips like this, and I had been using it for, you know, writing up the measurements and notes and things, because I do go through an awful lot of scrap paper, so it wasn't going to be wasted. But it was laying all over the place, and still is. I still have this last wee bit to chop up. So this is the container that it'll suit, and I've chopped it into more or less 3 inches by 2.5, I'd say. So these ones would have worked out smaller because that was the tail end that was left. So it all fits in there nicely. None of them is over 3 inches, so that's the width of my box. You can make your box bigger depending on the size of scraps that you would use, but this suits me, so that's what I'm going with. So I've used a retired DSP for this. And looking at it, it is lovely and bright and sparkly, and it would make a really good gift if you took the time to cut your copy paper down to the exact size that you want, so it's all nice and neat and tidy, like I showed you it when you're making the notebooks. And then, you know, it would make a really lovely, lovely present. Wrap your cellophane around, maybe stamp a wee tiny saying or a wee butterfly or whatever you want, just to make it really nice if you had the patience and time to do that. This is just for me, so I'm not going to go overboard. This one might go out to my daughter's office out there, but the next one I'm going to make it with the gorgeous grape from the Brights, and it has a lovely wood grain effect and text on the other side. So you need a little bit of cardboard, which gives it that wee bit support back and front and along the bottom as well, which makes it stand up nice and sturdy. It's not going to tip over on you. So for this piece, you need it to measure 5 1/4 by 6 inches. You're going to need another piece for wrapping your cardboard at for the base, and it needs to measure 4 1/2 by 2 1/2. And then you need a wee cover for your base underneath. You may as well finish it all off nice. And it needs to be 1 1/2 by 3 1/2. And then your bits of cardboard, you need 2 pieces for the back and the front, and they need to measure 3 2/8 by 2 1/2. And when you're cutting them, just cut them a fraction smaller, just a fraction smaller than those measurements, and it'll fit in nicely for you. You'll see what I mean as we go along. And then your bottom wee strip, you need it to be 3 1/2 by 1 1/2 to fit inside your base paper. So we'll start with this, and I'm going to have the wood grain as the outside this time. So on the 5 1/4 inch side, you need to score it at 1 inch, spin it around and score it at 1 inch again. I have made my box 1 inch deep because I think it's enough paper. I'll go through that in no time and have another batch ready to go more or less immediately. So turn it around to the 6 inch side and score it at 2 1/2 and 3 1/2. And that's your scoring done. The card that I have used is just the backing of one of our packs of 12 papers. So hold on to those backings. One side is shiny and the other side is matte, so they're pretty good, and they're just thick enough to give that wee bit of support. If you're working on a book type thing, then use a much heavier bit of cardboard. So just slightly score your seams. Don't go mad on them, just nice and gently, because you're going to be putting that card inside and you want to leave a bit of room for it to feel comfortable. So we're just doing all those wee ones up just nice and gently, and then we're going to get our scissors and cut in. This is really hard to see now at the minute. Cut, can I even see that at all? Cut up there to your first mark, and make sure I've got that right, and then just trim those off. Oops. Trim rather than yank off, huh? Much better. So that's the same with the other side. Goodness, this purple's so hard to see in my light. I'm doing this in the evening time. I should have waited to daylight. But hopefully you're seeing it okay. So just chop that down just fractionally, just to get rid of the clumpy bit, you know, where you've run your bone folder on. And that gives you the basic shape. So now you want to be adding these. I'm going to leave it so the shiny side is shown to the inside of the box. So put the matte side onto it. And just before you go any further, just make sure that it's all fitted in nicely and everything's closing up nicely so that it's not going to be too big and bulky and ruin the fold of your box. So just put some wet glue onto those pieces and stick them on. And again, as soon as you have that down, get your sections all up so that it's taken nicely on both sides, and then you can run your bone folder over it. And then do the same with the other side. You can see the Stampin' Up stuff is on, but you're facing that down the way as this time. This is going to be the front of the box. And if you think that it's showing outside and you're not happy, now's the time to trim it. It seems okay. So I'm going to stick it down. This is the shiny side this time, because obviously I can't use it with the Stampin' Up logo sticking out. But you'll not see this. I'm going to trim this off for the front, so it has a wee lip for easy lifting of your paper. So again, just make sure you're happy with everything where it goes. And that's the box more or less made up. What you want to do now is get your 2-inch circle punch and slip it in here. Is that crooked or straight? It's okay. So slip that in. You're going to take roughly half a circle off, but you want to make sure it's straight between those two spaces. It's just to give you that wee loop for easy lifting of your paper. So now we want to stick these on, and we're going to put the glue on the inside wee flaps. And we're going to bring our back up first and stick this on the outside. So now is the time to make sure that everything is nice and square before it dries, so you get a good wee shape. And because they're on the outside, this one's now going to cover that and give it a lovely neat finish, and no wee lips inside to stop your paper sliding in nice and perfectly. So wet glue again. Just make sure you have enough around these edges, because you don't want them dangling off after a month's use. You know, you want this to last, which is why you're using cardboard, to give it a good firm. And again, make sure that you're perfectly happy with it before it decides to permanently stick. And just use your bone folder to give them a wee rub. Get rid of any air bubbles. And there you've got your nice wee box, more or less made up. I have a wee bit of paper here. It's a wee bit taller, these ones, but I'll pop them in anyway just to give it a wee bit of a hold. And the ribbon that I'm going to use this time is from the lovely Flowers for Every Season. You get 3 different types of ribbon in it, and this is the white linen 1/2 inch wide, which is beautiful. It's a lovely feel to it. So we're just going to wrap it around here, and we're just tying it in a wee knot. No fancy bows or anything, because this is going to be taking up a space on your desk and you don't want it too flouncy. I say if you're giving it as a present, then go ahead and jazz it all up. But if not, just tie your bow. And we get our big scissors and just chop it off. Just a wee short bow, nothing too in your face. And you can see, and then because it's not stuck, you can shimmy it up and down to suit yourself. Now, we need to put a wee sentiment. We can't have anything without a sentiment of some sort. So, I get a bit of this. I will list below everything that I've used for you if you're interested in anything. But first I want to stamp a little note. And I'm just going to stick to black. I'm not going to bother matching. I'm just keeping it real officey looking. I'm going with the Memento. You could match it up with your grapefruit, gorgeous grape, ink, or whatever colour you happen to be using. So we'll just put that about there, a little note, and then I'm going to use the lovely classic label punch, and it just fits perfectly. And I'm just going to put dimensionals. Where are you? I'll use these ones. That just raises it up a wee tiny bit, because it's just going to be sitting along the bottom. As I say, I'm trying to keep it as plain as possible without being yuck, you know. It's serving a purpose. So that is just going to sit, oh, I'm not out of shot here, at the very bottom, a little note. And we're going to finish our bottom first, and then we're going to decorate with the butterfly. So our last wee piece is 3.5 by 1 inches, or 1.5 inches in the cardboard, and we're going to actually want this to be sitting. This will be the part that's facing up, so I want the text running that way. That's why I cut it that way. So make sure that you do the same if you're cutting it. Make sure that the text or whatever you're using is going to be facing the right way. So work that out in your head first. So stick that into the center of your piece of DSP. Just make sure it's well stuck. Normally takes pretty quick, and it doesn't have to be perfect, just don't annoy yourself about it, and just fold that over by hand. So you know it's taking the thickness of the cardboard without moving. So then we just want to trim our sides off, our corners I should say. Just go close up to there, but not right there, you know, just a wee fraction to give it a nice wee finished corner. And then you just want to put some glue on those bits. It may pop up. I'm going to run over it with my bone folder in a second. Gives it a good firm grip. And another wee bit here. And the last bit, I just didn't get that quite in far enough, but it's too late now. So I'm going to go in now with the wood grain, because it's going to be at the very bottom underneath. Nobody's going to see it, but it's going to cover up all that mess and keep it nice and tidy. Now if it's just going to sit on your own desk, you can leave it like that if you want, but why not finish it off? So a bit of glue again. And then pop that on. and that gives you a nice wee clean cut finish. And then you're going to need to put glue on the bottom of this, so we'll take our paper out again. And then just take your time putting this on. Don't press it down till you know, right, that's where I'm happy. So your text will face you this way, and you're going to plop it on and just try and get it sort of central, back a wee bit. Use the text nearly to help you line it up. It doesn't look too bad at all. So I'm going to go in with the bone folder. Now, if it shifts, make sure and get back and fix it up. And that should hold, hopefully, with the weight of the paper in there even. We'll keep it for a while for you. So all you want to do now is your wee butterfly, and I think it's a good idea just to put your butterfly onto a matching bit of the paper. So again, I have just used the Memento just for the black outline and nothing else. I'm going to stamp it onto the text. And then we're just going to punch it out. It's hard to see in that dark, isn't it? Line it up. So at this stage you could put a wee bit of, what is that wee stamp? Hiding them. Should have stamped that first, but it'll do the job. I'm getting ink over everything. Mucky desk today. So we've inked that up and we just want to stamp it on top of that punched out bit. And then I'm just going to put dimensionals on the back of that. I'm going to put 4. I usually curl the butterflies up, but because it's going to be sticking over the top of ribbon, I want something to give it a grip to the rest of the box so it doesn't go flying off on us. So just pop that on. I'm just going to let them go this way. Now to give that a wee lift, you could go in with your wink of Stella just to give it a wee bit of sparkle. Just very roughly. As I say, go to town. If you're giving it as a gift, maybe do another butterfly and raise its wings up so that it's sitting out nicely. But that's more or less it, and I'm pretty pleased with it, to be honest with you. I think they make very useful ideas for your desk. So I'll have all the details down below and all the measurements and everything you need. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next week. Bye.